Super tough shot.
James, 252 to the pin. It's got to go in.
I mean, he's got to get it around the corner and get it inbounds no matter what.
There are moments in disc golf that live in infamy, stories told through text, shared videos, interviews, and recreations. Sometimes it's a throw-in, a clutch putt, or even just consistency and shot selection that propels a player to the top of the world, or to a championship title. There are many ways to get there. Be a master in Circle 1 and deadly from Circle 2, be automatic off the tee in every round of every tournament. Look at Paul McBeth in 2015, statistically his best year ever, the Major Grand Slam. A World Championship win, outlasting now teammate Ricky Wysocki to make it 4 world titles in a row. Something we hadn't seen since another legend blazed the trail for modern disc golf, Ken Climo. Climo dominated the 90s, 9 straight world titles from 1990 to 1998, then again in 2000. Only 1999 slipped through his fingers, though even then, he and winner Ron Russell were over 10 strokes ahead of third place coming down the 18th fairway, so it's not like Ken Climo dropped off. We may never see that level of dominance again. Paul McBeth came the closest in the 2010s. There's just something about pre-2000s disc golf that felt different. Not just in terms of prize money, media coverage, or spectator galleries. The difference is something you can feel, even now in 2025. Something strange has been happening. Something that started to show in 2023, grew in 2024, and now in 2025, it's impossible to ignore. There is one man who, if I may say so, feels like the Ken Climo of the 21st century.
I'm in that moment. James throws a shot in and I could feel it. Like I can feel the roars going through my body.
It's still unbelievable to me that it went in, but just the coolest feeling ever.
In 2021, we witnessed what might be the greatest David versus Goliath story in disc golf history. A prime and hungry Paul McBeth chasing his 6th world title, battling a quiet, soft-spoken but incredibly precise James Conrad. You've seen the clip, you've heard the story, the PDGA even made a documentary about it, but that moment isn't the focus of this video. If you go back and rewatch the 2021 Worlds coverage and focus just on James Conrad, you'll notice something subtle, something missing. He didn't throw a forehand. Not once during the entire tournament, even during the playoff with Paul McBeth. But this story isn't about James Conrad either. Our main character wasn't even competing at the 2021 World Championship. In fact, that year he only played 1 A-tier. It wasn't until 2022 that he showed up on the world stage and finished ahead of some big names. Greg Barsby, Jeremy Colling, Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon, and even the reigning champ, James Conrad. What's most impressive is that, like Climo in the 90s, he doesn't throw forehands. Enter Isaac Robinson. Isaac didn't burst onto the scene with hype and fireworks, but he's always had a favorite throw, the backhand. Any tournament, any course, any weather, any stakes, I'd bet money that not only will Isaac throw backhand off the tee, but he'll keep throwing the backhand until it's time to putt. Now you might be asking, okay, but what's the big deal about that? That, my friend, brings us to the next chapter.
So you're talking about how you want to win non-major events here and what you need to do that.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the difference of the preparation that goes into it. And it's really pretty much the same. But if you can just play just consistently and not make any huge mistakes during the majors, but, maybe you're not playing like lights out. We saw this last week where the whole lead card third round played terrible,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was 1 stroke back. And so just getting out of the longer tournaments that are 4 or 5 rounds with, maybe 1 mediocre round, you still have a chance to take it down. And so I think that's where the difference is for me, is because I will have that down round, but I'm always able to bounce back if I have time.
When you look at a top-tier player's season, there's usually a trend. A thread of consistency that proves they can compete anywhere, any stage, any course, any condition. Check Paul McBeth's 2015 season, Ricky Wysocki's 2017, arguably their best years statistically. Macbeth averaged second place finishes across the season, Ricky an average of 1.5. But think about it, between 2015 and 2017, the leaderboard almost always featured Paul or Ricky in first or second, sometimes both. It felt inevitable. Now let's compare that to Isaac Robinson's 2023 season. Yikes. Not exactly what you expect from a future world champion, and yet,
Isaac Robinson has been hot.
he is. Let's check 2024. Still not great, but then look at the podium. Who's at the top in some of the biggest events? Isaac Robinson. Isaac has a trend. He shows up at majors. Top 10 finishes, always in contention, but in non-majors, inconsistent. When we talk about the legends, Macbeth, Climo, Tatar, Pierce, we don't recount every B tier win. We don't care about C tiers. What we remember is two things. How many majors did they win, and how many world championships? Everything else fades. Back to Isaac. He just won the 2025 Champions Cup, another major, another moment where he brings his best when it counts. And the trend continues. 13.2 average finish in 2023, 12.4 in 2024, and as of May 2025, currently averages 8.3. The competition is just as fierce, but Isaac is getting cleaner, more consistent. His game is evolving. Earlier I compared Isaac Robinson to Ken Climo, mainly for their shared love of the backhand. But it was a different time in the 90s. Blockbuster was king, forehands were something you did only if you needed a roller. Climo last won a world championship in 2006. Times have changed, but does that mean a backhand-only game plan is dead? Is it a relic, like archive VHS footage? Or are we witnessing return of that style? Is Isaac Robinson a throwback? Or just a flicker of a long-forgotten strategy? Is this real, or just nostalgia?
I love the competition. I love that. That's what we live for as players. Playoff, the final tournament, the tour championships. The finish out here is amazing. It's tough, and you got to earn every birdie. And you can't let up at all.
When you think about legacy, how you and others will look back on your career in disc golf, what will they say? Will it be filled with glitz and glamour, celebrating 2 world championships, or will it be more somber with comments like, yeah, he won the world title twice, but all he can do is win majors when the course favors his backhand? As disc golf's popularity grows, more players join the game every year, and they always find someone to root for, whether it's the aura you carry on and off the course, the content you create, or the legendary status you've already cemented. Isaac Robinson deserves his place among the best to ever play. One clip I always go back to is the 2022 DGPT Championship at Nevin Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. Isaac had the lead going into the final hole, playing a clean final round, fighting to maintain his spot after 4 rounds on one of the toughest courses on tour. But he forgot one thing. The player chasing him was none other than Ricky Wysocki, who has made a habit of charging from behind when starting second or worse. Ricky hadn't played as cleanly as Isaac that day, with 3 bogeys to Isaac's 1. But somehow, after 17 grueling holes, it came down to hole 18, and Ricky had closed the gap to a single stroke. Going into 18, it can only be described as the worst opponent to face one-on-one.
His chances.
Now Ricky, 480 feet. Going forehand over the gallery and into the circle.
Unbelievable.
But this is the moment. Ricky to tie.
How many times have we seen that? A lot longer.
Now Rick has an opportunity to come from 1 stroke behind going into the final hole and win in the first hole in the playoff if he can make this putt from 32 feet, 10 inches.
After that weekend, heading into 2023, most people assumed Isaac would fall off, thinking this was his peak, the height of what he could do, and the start of 2023 seemed to prove them right. Whether it was the courses, conditions, or shaking off winter rust, Isaac cracked the top 20 only once in his first 5 tournaments, averaging a 41.6 finish. Maybe they were right. As of this video's making, the world's best MPO player is Gannon Buhr. arguably the most promising young gun since a young Macbeth. Gannon hasn't won a world title yet, but he's dominated everywhere else, including majors. His backhand is booming and precise, and his forehand is so smooth it might actually be smoother than butter. But Gannon isn't reinventing the wheel. His form, disc selection, and backhand forehand preference are all traditional. He's just insanely consistent, averaging a 3.7 finish as of May 2025. Now that Isaac has risen to the top of the disc golf world, the big question, can he sustain it? Can he keep playing backhand and compete at the highest level of the Disc Golf Pro Tour? With fierce competitors like Gannon Buhr, Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, Anthony Barella, and many more clawing for every top spot, when does the backhand become a glass ceiling for Isaac? From most perspectives, he truly is the last cowboy.
And the same with Gannon. Like, they just have shots that I will never have. And so I love watching that. And so it's really hard to say, you know, I'm the best player in the world when you see shots like that.
We've seen others come along trying new things, trying to evolve the game in different ways. Many have tried, but only a few have succeeded. But what if it isn't a new thing that you're trying to do? What if it's just an old strategy brought to the modern game, something lost to time, and in the end, it's just the way the legends used to do it? Isaac Robinson's story isn't just about wins or records. It's about carrying the torch of tradition into the future of disc golf. The last cowboy riding into a new frontier.